1857, President Eisenhower sent 1,000 men of the United States Army to carry out the law. The Supreme Court of the United States had said, the entire strength of the nation may be used to enforce, in any part of the land, the security of all rights entrusted by the Constitution. And that included my rights and the rights of 8 other Negro Americans who wanted to go to Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. We were Terrence Roberts, Thelma Mothershed, Elizabeth Eckford, Ernest Green, Carlotta Walls, Melba Patillo, Minnie Jean Brown, and Gloria Ray. And we were going to school again. Obviously, in this town of 100,000, there were many who didn't like what was happening. But as we looked at the soldiers, we knew there must be millions of others who thought we represented something important.
The 1950s marked a time when many African Americans struggled for their rights. One of the rights denied to African Americans was the right to attend schools with white students. All the schools were segregated by race. Schools designated for African Americans were often of inferior quality compared to those designated for white students. Eventually, in 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Brown v. Topeka Board of Education that segregated schools are inherently unequal. 5 days later, the Little Rock School Board in Arkansas issued a policy statement saying it would comply with the Supreme Court's decision.
A year after the NAACP petitioned the Little Rock School Board for immediate integration, Superintendent Virgil Blossom created the Blossom Plan in 1955. This was intended to start the gradual desegregation of the Little Rock School Board. However, this plan did not start until 1957. The first step of the plan was to integrate African Americans and whites into Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. To start the process of integration, school board officials interviewed African American students who were interested in attending Central High School. Out of the 80 interviewed, only 9 students were chosen.
When these 9 African American students tried to enroll at Central High School, which was an all-white school at the time, Arkansas Governor Orville Forbes ordered the National Guard to surround the high school and do all they could to prevent the 9 students, later known as Little Rock 9, from enrolling. When President Eisenhower caught wind of the problem, he found himself in an enigma. He could either uphold the Brown v. Topeka Board of Education ruling and send in troops, or he could avoid a potentially bloody conflict and stay out of it. Eisenhower decided that he would get involved and requested to meet Forbes in his vacation spot, Newport, Rhode Island. Forbes agreed, and they met on September 14, 1957. Following the meeting, Forbes still did not allow the Little Rock 9 to enroll at Central High School. Many riots erupted, and Eisenhower sent in 1,000 U.S. Army paratroopers from the 101st Airborne Division to escort the students. The black students in the Little Rock 9 were then able to attend without further conflict.
The ruling in Brown v. Board of Education was a momentous occasion that rocked the entire country, as feelings of outrage, disbelief, and pride sparked throughout every household and school board. The 1950s, despite the shift towards desegregation and equality, was still a conservative and traditional time period in many households. Any mixing between African American children and white children was unheard of and considered scandalous among many people. Governor Forbes' refusal to acknowledge the Supreme Court's ruling simultaneously created outbursts of support and outrage and led to controversy around the nation. Many of those who supported Governor Forbes felt that the government should not force schools in other areas to integrate. Many believed the mixing of African American children and white children was unnatural and should not be allowed. On the other side, the ones who were appalled at the governor's decision believed that the governor cannot override the Supreme Court's decision and had no right to prevent the integration of African American students into the school. After the Little Rock 9 graduated from the school board decided to shut down all public schools and converted some of them into private schools rather than face more integration. At the time, private schools were not required to integrate. The Little Rock 9 became a symbol of equality and justice for African Americans across the country. They became national heroes, and a memorial was dedicated to them at the state capitol in Arkansas. They were awarded a gold medal, the highest honor a citizen can receive from the government, by former President Clinton in 1999, and were invited to the inauguration of President Obama.